Hey, how's it going, boys? I've been living in another country now, alone for the past year, and it taught me a lot of things. For example, it taught me to always be grateful for something as simple as having a plate of food to eat on a Sunday morning. Cause god damn, you Dutch people can't fucking cook! Talking about other things the Dutch can't do well at, I watched a show recently called Mob Psycho. I heard of it because I was looking for a show to watch during spring break, and goddamn was it good. And don't get put off by this, but it's an anime, okay? It's an anime. It's a fucking anime about kids having powers, okay? But I like it not because it's an anime and I like to watch two dudes get physical and scream at each other. If I wanted that, I'd watch gay porn. But I like it because under all of that action and spells, whatever and whatnot, lies a heartful coming-of-age story with a really strong message. And being the opportunist that I am, I'm about to abuse this power dynamic I have between my 15-year-old viewers and myself and lecture about something that only sounds important when I say it in a certain way. Change. When you think of change, you think of results, right? Like when you expect to get chicks when you change your whole personality based off Deadpool after watching the movie. That idea of expecting something out of change is just how we humans work. It's a universal law and we can't get rid of it. If we put effort and emotion into something, we always want something in return. But as I come to think of it, I think we might have the wrong idea about this, especially when our ideals and judgments get ahead of us. I think that sometimes to change as a person is not to expect any return at all. You know, I think it's natural to want something out of change because you've probably endured so much during the process. But if anything the past year has told me is that you shouldn't. Mob Psycho is a really wonderful show. It follows Mob, a powerful Esper, and a boy who probably has some type of autism, let's be honest. If you haven't watched the show yet, I'd recommend you doing it, because not only is it relatable for some of you guys, but also because I'm about to spoil the ending. Near the end of the show, there's a scene I find interesting, which ties into this video. It's a conversation between Mob's older self and his current self. To know why it leads to this scene, I need to give you a bit of context. Throughout the show, Mob has his crush on his childhood friend Tsubomi, who he used to play with as a kid. But as Mob grew, his relationship with her got cold, and for quite a bit of time now he has been longing to confess to her. Watching the show from the first season, we as the viewers knew that Mob already has feelings for her, but it's not until the final season where the plot picks up as we see a much more mature Mob finally take a shot at her. It was the last day of school and everyone's lining up in the back of the building to have their last chance at a 10 out of 10. Because Tsubomi is going to move out of town for good. With the experience he has under his belt and the stick he's packing, he called her one night and surprisingly got an answer. But instead of lining up behind school like the others did, Mob is gonna meet Tsubomi at the park they used to play in as a child. You know, being a powerful Esper and probably autistic, getting a yes from a 10 out of 10 makes Mob feel invincible the next day. Life is well, school is probably also going well, and after that, he's about to go hang out with the girl of his dreams. But one thing that a godlike sorcerer can't beat is cancer. Just kidding, he gets hit by a Honda. But how the hell is the finale going to be like now that he's dead? Well, surprisingly, the show writers know what they're doing and pulled a damn miracle, because this is some 4 bread, 2 fish type shit. Because the finale is crazy. After Mob got hit by the car, his subconscious took over. What took over is a personality that is kept dormant after a childhood accident that made him repress it. A personality known as Shigeo. As Shigeo takes over Mob's body, he walks through town destroying literally everything in his way. Inside Mob, the two personalities are having a clash of conflict over who takes control. But no fret, baby boys. After a lot of back and forth, Mob rolled a perfect 20 with disadvantage. This means that Mob successfully convinced Shigeo to become one with him. And now Mob's a better man, and he's gonna get it, you know? He's gonna fucking get it.
Rejected.
What? You're telling me she was still waiting?
She told me it never occurred to her to think of me that way.
Well, that sucks. Now that he's a better person, he should get better results, right? Well, no, fuck you. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic here, but changing and becoming something truly better does not suddenly make life gives you all it spoils. Actually, it does not have anything to do with the results at all. But what it does have anything to do with is that it simply makes you change. As a viewer, it may seem like Mob just wasted a whole lot of energy and effort for basically nothing. And from a story perspective, this is like when Ellie didn't kill Abby at the end of Last of Us Part 2. But I think we shouldn't view it like that. There is a deeper meaning after all to why it concluded like this. And like The Last of Us, it may seem so stupid, but actually it's quite an accurate representation of what real life gives you. Now comes the sappiest part of the video. Throughout the past year, I learned that for most of the time, changing is real hard. And when you have that idea of expecting something from being better, it is only natural for you to expect something worth your while. And that's fine. But what the past year has taught me is that you shouldn't really have any expectations for it. And I'm saying this for your own good. And come on, let's be real now. 90% of the time, the things you expect in your head from being better and changing do not happen. Trust me. But also, it's kind of like a paradox, because for someone to want to be better, someone needs to expect something. You don't just want to be better because of nothing. So it's a paradox. And here's an exception. If you expect something that is intrinsic and genuine, I think it's fine to cling to that expectation of yours. If you want to expect something out of change, do it for the sake of changing itself. But still, there are certain problems in life that changing to fit an ideal does not necessarily mean that the external problem is solved. Changing does not make you privileged. Now that brings us to the end of this video. Expecting something from change is probably the most selfish thing you can ever do. Although Mob didn't get the answer he wanted, I say that changing made him deal with his emotions rather well. You can see this in the final scene of the show, surrounded by the ones who truly mattered to him, despite everything he went through. For the first time ever, Mob burst out his first genuine laughter. Take care, boys.